Welcome to another episode of IBIZA Amigos. We're here at this amazing place in the hills of San Jose in Ibiza called Festival Club. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. It's a really old, probably is one of, if not the original club in Ibiza. It's outside, falling to bits as you can see, but it's amazing, check it out. And we're here with a really good friend of mine. I've got a little bit of just a little few pointers to describe him really. Positive character on the island. A true passionate lover for keeping vinyl records alive. An ex-dread dude. The owner of Ibiza Vinyl Club. Welcome, Peacharoo.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for being really patient, mate. We're trying to sort everything out for you.
It's a pleasure, mate. Thank you for inviting me onto your show.
So Peacharoo, where did that come from? Where did the name, the word?
Well, my family name is Peachy. I'm born into this family. My first name is Gary. Hi, Gary Peachy. But I was working in an office many years ago, and for no apparent reason, I used to use my surname as my go-to name. I fell out of love with Gary many years ago, and then Peachy was always like this, Peach that. For no reason at all, this office manager, Carol Roberts, stood up one day in the middle of the office and just started singing, "Oh, Peacharoo, oh, Peacharoo." And this is kind of, I would say 2 or 3 years into me learning to be a DJ, and I was looking for an alias. Like, Peacharoo sounds pretty good. I'll go with that. And here we are. Later on, I found out that the word Aru is actually Hindi for peach. So
wow.
Technically, peach.
That's deep, that, isn't it? Did you know that before?
No.
Aru is Hindi for peach.
For peach. And I found this when I was in Manchester outside of solicitors, and it just said Aru. So I'm taking a selfie, and this woman comes out. It's like, "What are you doing?" So I told her this story. She says, "Oh yeah, well, Aru is peach."
That's blew my mind. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Mental. I gave my daughter the nickname Peacharoo.
Right.
So we always used to vibe together as Peacharoo and Peacharoo.
Right. And if you have another son, what are you going to call him? Peacharoo too.
Jesus.
So tell me a bit about life before Ibiza. So, I mean, how long have you been in the island, for example?
I've been in love with this island since I first came here in the mid-90s with my family. It was amazing. I changed my life from the word go. I came back here first as an adult when I got into clubbing as a 22, 23-year-old. I was a bit of a late developer in that respect. Started going raving in Manchester, and then the rave scene and wanting to be a DJ introduced me to Ibiza. So I came on holiday, again, blew my mind. Started to come religiously, primarily for the music coming out, and obviously the getting smashed element was a big part of my life back then. So I think for about 12 or 13 years I came every summer, missing 1 or 2 here and there, but wanting to come out, wanting to get in with the party scene, the days of Space and the days of We Love Sundays, all this type of stuff was going on. And the DJs that I looked up to were vinyl DJs. I was still playing vinyl back then, and we'd come on holiday to listen to the music that they were releasing that year, because that was the first point of call.
Yeah, that's what you do. I don't know, is it like that nowadays? I don't know.
It
used to come out here a good year before it did back in England, didn't it?
Yeah. And I used to go home and then wait for them to come out, like, oh yeah, this DJ played this and this DJ played that, get it from HMV or second-hand shops. Or.
Do you think that was because, obviously, back then it was vinyl, so all the DJs used to be here, so if they had a new press that was just being pressed this morning, they would test it out in a club tonight?
100%. Yeah. Ibiza was the point that people would be dropping their new tracks. Absolutely. This is one of the reasons that it got their reputation as being kind of the market leader, if it's a market, in the music industry.
And I suppose the digital era sort of ruined that, hasn't it, sort of thing?
It's created something different, for sure. Yeah, but now anyone can release anything and put an MP3 out without the furore around having to get your
records
printed,
and everything else,
pressed, whatever it is. Yeah.
There's pros and cons, isn't there? Like, obviously, when I was in a band, we used to record our own stuff. We'd get it recorded somewhere else as well. Whereas years ago, that option wasn't available, was it? It was like you had to know a big record company, otherwise you just played in your room or played in a bar. So I suppose the pros are you can record, anyone can record, which is great. But then it's sort of, there's nothing better than having a vinyl though, is there? It's like when you go shopping for vinyl and you're going through it, and especially nowadays where people are picking up stuff that was pressed 30, 40 years ago, and you don't, the beauty of it, you don't know where that vinyl's been played.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It could have been the one that was played the first time, which it will have been at one point, and then someone will have said, "Oh, that's awesome." Do you know? So you're holding a piece of history, aren't you?
Yeah.
Rather than a piece of plastic.
Yeah, it's super. Like in my role, I work with a couple of different outlets that give me vinyl to work with. And I've had some vinyl come through, and on the front of it, it's just kind of scribbled Pasha, and it's from 1984, and you go, damn, this is a Pasha promo.
Yeah.
Some one of the DJs, Pippi or Juan Ribas has dropped this in Pasha, and it's been played in Pasha
even better
before
as a
they were
white
mixing.
label.
Yeah.
So Ibiza Vinyl Club, you brought that over here, or did you start it here?
No, I started it here.
Right, obviously, did it not used to just be called Vinyl Club back home? I've always wondered that.
No, it was nothing to do with Manchester or the UK. I mean, I had the idea here a couple of years before manifesting it. I think about 2014 is when the idea came to me. And I've had another couple of ideas while I've been in Ibiza as well. It's massively inspired me, like given me so much influence in my life, so much inspiration. And the ideas that I've had when I've talked about them, a couple of years later, I've seen them manifested. Like one of these.
Well, that's how it works, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but not by me.
Right.
So this idea that I had, I'm an old wedding DJ, so I used to do pop-up weddings and events and corporate stuff back in the UK, and I came up with this concept of getting an ice cream van. I thought, wouldn't it be good to have an ice cream van and we modify it and we kit it out. We've got the decks in the window, and we open the back doors, and on the back doors inside you've got these speakers, and you can just rock up at a villa and open up and start to play solar panels for the power or maybe whatever. Yeah. So I came up with this and started talking to people about it, and then I think it's 2 years later my brother sent me a message and he goes, "Hey, have you seen this?" And it was a paper cutting, and some ice cream brand in Cornwall advertising the best job in the world, and it's a franchise where you invest in an ice cream van which is kitted out as already done. So you buy it in your ice cream cellar, but you're also a DJ as well. Like, yeah, this is the best job in the world, second best job in the world.
That sounds good. Well, Donegan's used to have an ice cream van there, didn't they?
They did.
Because I remember when I first met you, you had dreadlocks.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can remember, but we were sat on the beach. I was actually on the beach. I don't know whether it was the evening or the morning, maybe it was after the night before, maybe. And I was just chilling on the beach, probably hungover. And you walked past, and you just sat next to us, and you just started talking to us straight away. You said, "Hey mate, how you doing? Who are you?" Blah blah. And it was just like I don't know if you remember that. It was a place called the Beach, I think it was.
Yeah, opposite where the cut through at Donegan's and Broken Arrow. Yeah, I remember.
And we were sat there, and I remember you saying that you'd brought loads of stuff over from Manchester, like a big chest of fancy dress and stuff. Yeah. So that's how it sorted. So you thought you would bring that over here and you would start that. You were looking for the ice cream van, weren't you?
I tried my hardest to get a gig in the ice cream van, but they would never let me do it. Even when I was playing,
probably because it was falling to bits.
Yeah, even when I was playing on digital, I just wanted to kind of live that little dream. But yeah, to go back to the vinyl club, I kept the idea quiet because I wanted to do it myself. It came from within. It was something which was purely me. And within the first, I moved here to live in 2015, and within a couple of months I got myself a gig on vinyl, and then my gratitude for life and for how I'm living it just kind of wanted to manifest this, but also open a space for anyone else to come and play as well. For me as a vinyl DJ, being inspired by this island, it's given me so much. I just wanted to come and share my music in the way that's inspired me to do so by playing vinyl. So I immediately opened the vinyl club and opened a space for anyone to come and do it. So we have open decks at every event. And you don't even need to be a DJ.
Those of you who don't know about the Ibiza Vinyl Club, and please, Peachy, butt in if I get this incorrect. It's a place where people can go, and Peachy takes the event all over the island, and vinyl DJs come there. There's a little vinyl fair so people can buy vinyls, exchange vinyls, and just get to know. It's weird because for a place like Ibiza that used to be so just vinyl. There's now only sort of you doing it and your events on the island, which is a shame really, isn't it? But it's good because then if people go there, that's where everyone is. And yeah, just describe basically the people who are watching this, what the Ibiza Vinyl Club is if they were coming to an event.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you said. I've just rebranded it. I've come up with some new terminology. Ibiza's only full frequency audio analog vinyl experience. So it's much more than just a gig. It's a community. There's 1,000 people on the Facebook group. We've got a couple of hundred people on our Telegram networks and WhatsApp as well. And over the past 6 years, since the conception in 2016, We've used over 100 DJs in 96 events up to date in 40 plus locations all across the island. So my history is as a pop-up marketeer, event manager. I spent a lot of time in the UK putting brands in hands, working for big companies, so just transferred that talent and that skill as well as the whole entertainment side of it as well, because I've been doing gigs for ages. Brought it over to Ibiza, and it was like, for me, it's quite simple to run. I run it all myself, and when you come to the Vinyl Club, it's all about the analog element of it, the full frequency audio. So I'm actually trying to do away with all digital aspect of it now. You'll find that at our events we've got copper spirals to harness beautiful energy from the ether. We've got shungite around as well, which makes man-made electromagnetic frequencies biocompatible. But more importantly, it's about the full frequency range of the music, which every event that happens, like, people will say to me, "This is incredible." Like, it's a party event and there's vinyl to look at, there's an audio point for you to listen to, you can interchange, exchange, you buy from us, and when you buy vinyl from us, 100% of your fee goes to our charity, which is called Project Equilibrium. And this is to support kids in Africa at the moment, vulnerable children and orphans, using this medium of vinyl to enhance lives further than it's enhanced my life, further than it enhances everyone's life, because all the vinyl DJs, the lovers, have got their own connection to it, they've got their own stories, their own love with the vinyl, with different records. Everyone's got their own unique aspects of it, but it's enhanced our lives in some way. So this is the kind of concept that I'm running with, this is the seed that I built, or that I've sprouted from the very root of the movement, which now is becoming more and more important, because I'm seeing everywhere it's just becoming digital orientated. It's digital, which means
it's convenient, isn't it? That's why, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's convenient, it's simple to use, but also actually on a microscopic level, zeros and ones aren't very biocompatible. And if you look at the damage that 2G, 3G, 4G and 5G has been proven to do to biological cells on a microscopic cell membrane DNA strand level, then it ruptures it, and it can cause rupture and cancers and all this type of stuff. Deep dive. But the vinyl element of it is more about feeling the emotion, feeling the power, feeling the love of the original artist. And there's nothing more that I love to do is than play music that's been recorded in 1923, 1930s. I'm well into my blues.
Because someone else will have listened to that. Hi, all right.
Hi, thanks for coming. Yeah.
We do have a little video of actually, which I found online, of some kids from Uganda.
Thank you, Peachy. Thank you, Katinari. Thank you, Katinari. For working for us. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
It explodes my heart to see that. These are the kids that we're supporting in Campoli in Uganda. The project is called BMP Be Happy, Helping Needy People. And a year and a bit ago, I had enough of life here in Ibiza. I felt that I was not able to run with the brand as I wanted to do. The Ibiza Vinyl Club is my path. After the lockdown and all things that was rolling on from that, I needed space, I needed to get away. And I took this decision to leave. I sold everything that I owned, apart from 140 records, which nobody wanted. A few bags of clothes, and left it here, and I walked along the Camino de Santiago. During that time, 48 days on the road from Valencia to Compostela, all on my own, which was an incredible experience, and I'd recommend it to anyone. Managed to raise €2,500 from within the Vinyl Club network and the Project Equilibrium network as well. So we are still in the process of sending them €70,000. Any sponsors, come and see me. We want to buy them a school. There's a school which is waiting. There's 216 kids in this little village.
And check that out. That's
BHHNP, Be Happy, Helping Needy People, is a project in Uganda. Project Equilibrium is the Ibiza Vinyl Club project. And now we're expanding to help. There's another orphanage in Jinja, which is also in Uganda, and there's one in Tanzania called Kisiwani Orphanage. So kind of in all, there's about 260 vulnerable children and orphans that we're actively supporting every event. Every time I sell vinyl online at Discogs, or vinyl directly gets sold, 100% of the fee just channels through me into the banks and then straight over there. We sent money over to Kisiwani for Easter, so the kids could all have an Easter celebration. And I'm just about to make another transfer in 2 days when the funds clear in my account, so we can send another vulnerable child to boarding school for 3 months with all expenses paid. Costs awesome. 205 euros will get a kid in school for 3 months. It's three months is 1 term, 3 terms is 1 year. So for 615 quid, people, we can get a kid, a child, a vulnerable child, an orphan in Uganda, a full year's education. And for 615 euros here in Ibiza, you can't even pay rent for a month.
Anyone who wants to go on Facebook, it's Peacharoo. Is it Peacharoo?
I don't know. I don't use Facebook anymore. It's just
you're still on there, because I was on there last night, and that's where I came across the whole Uganda thing, which is really weird because we've got some dogs.
Who is he?
Yeah.
Hi, baby. Did you see her eyes?
They're actors, by the way. Today I woke up to a few messages from a guy called Isaac.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
I do know Isaac. Yeah.
I know. It was just a random message from someone who I didn't know, not friends with, but I wanted to speak to you about it. So this is the guy, is it?
If it's Isaac Katushabe.
Yes.
Yes.
It's him.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So he's the director of BHMP in Uganda. Right. In 2020, he was the one that reached out to me. After I'd already set Project Equilibrium up, and I was actually looking for charities to donate to. And during the lockdown, we'd raised a few money before the lockdown, and then during it, we did a couple of events online where we raised a few quid. And I was just kind of wondering, who am I going to support? I wanted to support kids on the island. Couldn't find any charities here, and then Isaac just kind of like, we've got all these orphans, and we're looking for support and love from the Western world. I love dogs. BHMP were actually working with another Ibiza charity called Last Night a DJ, which is another DJ orientated charity. And they're just continually raising money. You know, €1 here is 4,000 local shillings in Uganda, which can buy a kid food for a week. Do you know, Africa in itself has been massively suppressed. We're taught things about Africa in the Western world, which is complete lies and fabrication. And the wealth, the abundant wealth which is available on the planet to us all, just doesn't get shared to these kids. In Campoli, I don't know what the population is, but there's 216 orphans. So that means that, for me, 432 adults have died. And this is a small village. How many kids have we got in the orphanage here in Ibiza? And how many adults does that mean aren't caring for the children? There's something weird going on with this big number. And ever since 1986, with, ever since 1986, with Live Aid, this was the biggest inspiration for me to start doing this type of thing. You know, I've got Bob Geldof etched in here. And these images of malnourished Ethiopians, flies in their face and nothing to eat, and I started to fundraise, and I started doing sponsored walks and washing cars for money and donating it through school, and kind of always been on this charitable path. I don't believe in corporate charities. So as a conduit for the own charity that I've created, then people that buy from me can trust me, and they know that my due diligence for them is that I'll give you a receipt to make sure that the 100 quid you give me, you see it go into my account, and you see the 100 quid go directly to them as well. Good
for you, mate. I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and I didn't know any of this, to be honest, until I sort of researched you this week. And I came across all of this, so I think it's great. And there's bits on YouTube as well of the kids saying thank you to all the people who've donated as well. And I'm gonna go back to the Camino de Santiago, because it's a pilgrimage, sort of, yeah. So I did any sort of walk really that you're gonna do to sort of find yourself, or a bit of clarity or a bit of focus, is technically a pilgrimage. And I did a one not as long as that in Scotland, the West Highland Way, and it was only a week, and it's only 100 miles. Only 100 miles. My feet were in bits. You did near enough 500 miles. I think it was just under, it's like 490 something miles, I think it is.
2,554. Right?
What's that?
2,554.
What, miles?
Kilometres. Oh no.
Right,
hang on a minute, I'm getting confused at some point. Is it 500 miles?
Yeah, 500 miles.
Oh no, I raised 2,554 quid.
Right, there you
That's
go.
what it is.
There you go.
So many numbers.
So just take me through, I mean, we've got some, you did a whole blog about it on YouTube as well.
Yeah, so the desire was just to get away and just be on my own. you know, after so much had gone on and not really having time on my own just to fend for myself on my sovereign path. This is just how it culminated, and I didn't really plan it. I just knew that.
Did you prepare for it? Did you go and like train for anything? You just get up and go?
Nah, a funny story relating to this is that during the lockdown as well, I felt this during the lockdown. So I wanted to walk around the island during the lockdown, and I set off with a heavy ass bag with like tins of fish in it and all sorts, and it was fucking well heavy. It's ridiculous. So I went from Santa Agnes on my first pilgrimage and walked from Santa Agnes to Ses Balaldres, I think it's called, which is a little beach in Santa Agnes. You've got to climb down this rope thing to get down. It's kind of a hike. It's quite intense for the first day. And I slept in
especially with tins on your back.
I slept in a fisherman's cave in one of these casetas. Didn't sleep. The waves were against the water, the water and the walls and keeping me awake and all sorts. Got bit by a rat.
Really?
Yeah, I thought something woke me up by nibbling on my finger in the middle of the night, and I lasted like 18 hours or something. I just got to the top in the morning, like I'm going home. So I'll tell between my legs,
packed for life.
It was just too heavy, right? And again, with the Camino de Santiago, I did the same. I just packed what I thought I'd needed, not taking into consideration that I've got 2 months on the road. So I had some walking boots and didn't really research the route that I was doing, and just had a few pairs of shorts and, you know, big baggy combats and all this. And it was challenging, right? It was far too much weight. In the first couple of weeks, my feet broke. I had blisters on my feet because I was walking in these walking boots that I'd bought second hand. They weren't mine, didn't break them in, didn't need them because the Camino is asphalt or like concrete. Didn't do the research properly there. And then when I met an Italian couple that were experienced, they're like,
what are you doing?
What are you doing? Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. I mean, I took an axe with me. I had visions, right, of like chopping firewood, and I had a hammock and all sorts. I had this romantic vision that I was just going to be just laid back and just enjoying the trip. Never used the axe, so I just left that in a hostel somewhere and got rid of my trainers, got rid of the walking boots, bought some trainers, lightened my load, and then it completely changed after 2 weeks. I wasn't hobbling and like struggling to make 20 kilometers a day. I was able to properly just walk with a light load, and I was pushing on 29, 30, 35k.
Wow.
For the rest of that every day, and it became so much of a beautiful, more beautiful experience.
I know exactly what you do. Well, I didn't do 2 months, but I did a week. But I started the West Island Way with 22 kilograms on my back. You're supposed to have 10 max. And I got 2 days in, 2 days, and I couldn't walk, like my hips. And for those who are familiar with the West Island Way, there's these things called baggage carriers, and there are the companies on the island.
Oh yeah.
And I chose one. One was called Freedom, obviously. So I just thought I have to have that one, Freedom in Scotland. And you pay them, and they carry your luggage, they carry your baggage. I gave them everything, literally the whole 22k. But the guy was like, "What are you doing? Like, you're gonna hurt yourself really bad, you know?"
So these experienced couple were just kind of laughed at me a little bit, and they're like, "Come on," took me under their arm a little bit. So I walked with them for a week, and this Italian guy speaking to me in Spanish, and he's just like, "You just got to get rid of all this stuff." I had a 70-litre bag, and I filled it. And didn't need to. You didn't need to walk with 70 litres. That's ridiculous. But my naivete and my own desire to learn from my experience put me through pain, made me walk the penance for 2.5 weeks or whatever it was, before I realised that decathlon became my best friend.
Well, I'm definitely going to do that walk at some point in my life. Next year, I'm going to redo the West Island Way again, but with Hayley this time, because it does completely change your life doing something like that. Even more so, something like a month and a half, 2 months of walking. You come across so many people, don't you? And you meet so many like-minded people, and you spend so much time alone that it sends you insane at first. This is what it did to me. And then afterwards, you really find yourself, don't you? You really become content with nothing.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I intended to do. That I wanted to find a part of myself that I'd not explored.
And you sold everything as well. You had no ties or anything. You just
detached from everything. I sold all my vinyl, sold my deck, sold my 1210 Mark IIs, which were like my pride and joy. No, it was a lesson for me in detachment, in disattaching. That's not even a word, is it? Detaching from material things, which is my own journey. Like, we're in this material realm, but this material realm isn't all, and we become attached. From my perspective, we become attached to material possessions, and we put too much value as humanity on material possessions, cars, jobs, mortgages, all this type of stuff. And I totally believe...
Grounds you too much. It almost chains you.
It changes you. It does. Like, one of my evolutionary moments was before I moved to Ibiza, me and my ex-wife were looking to buy a house. And when I'm like, this is a 25-year commitment to a bank, shit myself.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I couldn't get a mortgage because I was freelance, and that made us choose a different way of life, which was to come and move in Ibiza.
So going back to vinyl, your favourite vinyl that you own now?
There's never been a record that has stopped me in my tracks before, and this one did. So I work with a second-hand store, and they give me a load of vinyl, and I look at it and I sift through it and I price it up using one of the marketplaces. I pay myself in vinyl after an agreed rate, and then send some back, and then what I pay myself I split with me in the club. The best vinyl I like and I keep for myself, whatever resonates with me, the rest of it goes to the charity. But this one vinyl I'm just flicking through going, no, yeah. Oh, fuck. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. And it was the original soundtrack to the 1960s Batman in
really?
pristine condition.
Wow.
And this is really resonant in my life because as a kid I used to watch this. And Batman always inspired me. You know, the pow,
Poof.
mint condition in a plastic sleeve. And I just was like, wow, this is incredible. This music has really inspired me all through my life. I was looking back actually recently, I was like, where does my taste come from? Because I love mobile music, I love music of black origin. I love funk, soul, disco, soulful house, gospel house, roots, jazz, blues, all this type of stuff. And I used to watch quite a lot of vigilante programs when I was a kid, Night Rider, Street Hawk, the A-Team, and they all played, including Starsky and Hutch, Huggy Bear.
It's like comic. If a comic book had a soundtrack, it's like that sort of.
Yeah. But these were created in the 60s and the 70s, so they were using like 70s funk. Like the most famous one is a Starsky and Hutch theme tune. It's just incredible. I've had it like 4 times on vinyl. And I used to love Starsky and Hutch and all these other programs, and that was kind of a musical opening for me. Even though it was the programs that I was watching, the music came from that, and then obviously with whatever was in my life at the time, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, 5-star from my mum and dad's collection, that's kind of where the black origin came from.
Right, so you're a passionate person. So you've got strong beliefs on controversial topics as well. You're a positive person, and I was like interested because I'm into this sort of stuff as well. Where did your interest in the conspiracy theories, or facts as people like to call them, come from?
I've just got kind of a subjective question in mind. Like one of my deepest memories of this is I remember reading something when I was a kid, and I repeated what I'd read to my dad, and my dad didn't believe me and just went, "Don't believe everything you read." I went, "All right, I won't," and that's kind of stemmed from it all. And it was the term conspiracy theory is one of those that's, again, I don't want to talk about conspiracy theories. I'd rather talk about what my own research has evolved me to, or what my own research has led me to believe. And again, belief systems are all about feeling and what resonates with you. So like when we get taught at school that we're living on this sphere, which is hurtling through space at, 160,000 kilometers per hour, and it's spinning on an axis which is wobbling at something like 3,000 miles an hour as well. And then, we've got butterflies that just float around. It doesn't make any sense. Like my critical thinking mind just goes, nah.
Things like big beliefs systems always stem from something, especially if it goes against what you taught as a kid. So that was cool. So it stems from your dad.
Yes.
Saying don't believe anything.
Well, I mean, there's probably many more experiences when I was a kid that I created my belief system from along those lines. But yeah, critical thinking is, I think, something that humanity has lost, especially with the schooling system that's in place now, where for decades and decades and decades, we're just sat in a class taught to repeat what we're being told, repeat out of books.
You'll succeed in life if you remember what I'm telling you now.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy, like exams are just, they just teach you to remember what someone said 2 months ago in a classroom. Like, oh, good, you're really clever now.
Yeah, and if
It's
you've
like
got
crazy.
if your memory's not as sharp as the next person, like I've always had kind of a dodgy memory. Not dodgy, I mean my memory is great for me, but when you compare to other people that were top of the class, they had great memories.
Yeah.
Photographic memories, for example.
Memory game, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good, it's crazy, like.
Absolutely.
That's all it is. So you've got something coming up on Thursday, which this is obviously recorded a few days before that, so we're going to get some footage for that, and we're going to play some of that on the show as well. So where can people catch you doing your thing this year? I know you mentioned earlier on today that you're on your 96th show, is that right?
Yeah, the next one.
So the 100th show is going to be this summer.
This summer, yeah.
Where's it going to be?
May or
Do you
June.
know?
No, it's a big surprise even to me.
Oh, right, so you don't actually know either?
No.
Are you going to make it a big thing, or just the same as what you normally do?
Oh no, we'll be blowing smoke up our own arse for this
Yeah?
one. I mean, I've christened the Ibiza Vinyl Club as the most prolific event of Ibiza. Like, I don't know any other events. I mean, there's been long-running events that have been here for 15 years, but there's not been as many events that I've witnessed from my experience, and this is why I'm able to christen it, not from anybody else's. If someone wants to correct me, then please do. But I've done nearly 100 events in
That's awesome,
6
man.
years, and I took 2 years off. I had a year off in 2020. No, 2021 I didn't do anything. In 2018,
I think everyone took a year
I
off.
did
Like, yeah.
4 gigs. You was involved in them. I did 2 at Ibiza Rocks Bar, and then another 2 somewhere else. I only realised this the other day when I was going through looking for artwork. I'm like, wow, I've done 96 events.
That's awesome, man.
And like even had 2 years off in between, and ran away from the island.
And it's your own event as well, which you
Everything.
go and take to places.
I do it all, yeah.
So you sort it all out yourself. So if people come to the island this year, where can they catch you? Have you got sort of like residency events, or do you?
Well, I'm waiting for the right residency event to come along. Last year we was at a restaurant called Can Garage. We ran there for 13 weeks on the build up to Christmas. This winter we've had a residency in the cafe at Las Dalias. We've been doing a monthly residency there, and that's where you can catch us on Thursday from 7 p.m.
Every Thursday?
No, just this Thursday, the 20th of April. They might want to go into May, and they might want to keep us on with that, but they're just like dangling carrots in front of me.
Well, this show will be out in the next few weeks, really. So we're looking at maybe May and June, July. Where can we catch you then?
You have to go to our Instagram page.
Right. Ibiza Vinyl Club.
Yeah.
Check them out. They're doing a great thing, and just found out recently over the last couple of days that a lot of the money goes to this Uganda charity, which is building lots of things for the kids over there, schools. I'm sure it'll go towards hospitals and food and apartments and everything else. So I'd just like to say thank you very much, Peacharoo, Gary, for coming in.
Thanks, mate.
Coming on the show. And yeah, thank you so much, mate.
You're absolutely welcome. Can I just correct you on that little bit with Uganda?
Yeah.
All the money that we raise from vinyl sales goes to the Ibiza Club charity, which is called Project Equilibrium, and within that we're supporting 3 projects, 2 in Uganda and 1 in Tanzania. So there's the BHHMP in Uganda and Campoli with 216 orphans. There's In God We Trust Foundation as well, which is in Jinja. There's 20 orphans there as well. And there's Kisiwani Orphanage, which is in Tanzania, and they've got 24 orphans that we're supporting as well. I mean, there's other people supporting them as well. Other entities are sponsoring the children to go to school, for example, and sending money, financial donations in the way of love, but that's where it is. We're not just concentrating on one. And the bigger we get, then the more people we can share it with. So jump on board, get in touch with us, Instagram, Ibiza Vinyl Club, or search Project Equilibrium or IVC or hashtag Viva Video!